Well, the truth is, when he was in his old band, they were all supposed to do it as part of a film, and he stayed asleep in his tour bunk because he was too scared.
So I missed out.
Yeah, that's right.
Baz, have you always been this adventurous? Has it been something you've been into since you were young?
Yeah, well, like I have a thing, a kind of ethos about fear, and it doesn't matter if it's like jumping out of a plane or wrestling alligators or doing things. All the kind of shows I've done previously are kind of. I'm no Bear Grylls or Ross Kemp. I'm more Peggy Mitchell, if anything. You know, I'm just a normal guy, but I've got to do these amazing things. And I just think a lot of people don't get that opportunity. And if I could get my mum to do that with me and go on this crazy adventure, like what crack it would be. It would just be the best ever. And that's how it just stemmed from, you know.
Nancy, what was Baz like as a child?
Well, let's say I had the wooden spoon out. You know what the wooden spoon is now and again, isn't it? But generally he was good. He was good,
Adventurous?
Well, quite adventurous, yeah. But he was fine. He was like any normal child, any normal teenager. We changed a few schools, things like that.
Anyway, we don't
but we won't go into that. That's past tense. We won't go into that.
Let's not.
So how did you decide what challenges you were going to do?
It's funny because of the name, I just kind of went through a list of things that I'd done, and I just thought, well, what can we do together? So whether it's like wrestling alligators or doing the highest roller coaster, or even my mum had never gambled. She drives a little Corsa at home, so I was like, right, we'll get a 5-litre Mustang. I'll teach you how to drive it. We'll go to Vegas and we bet your pension. And Mum straight away was like, well, I don't want to bet my pension. I'm like, you have to. You have to gamble in Vegas once in your life. And
Did you win?
Yes.
Oh, good.
You can't keep telling them everything. They have to watch the show.
Sorry, you have to watch the show.
But she
now.
did win. And,
Oh, my pension, my poor got my pension back again, double the pension.
Good for you, Nancy.
Which was great.
Talk to us about the skydiving. What was that like?
It was brilliant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant.
I think we've got a clip, actually.
Yeah, let's
Should
have
we
a
take
look.
Yeah.
Oh, you were genuinely worried about your mum there.
do you know what? It's so easy on paper to write down these things that you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that was our first big stunt.
Right.
And on the day, I was like fighting with the crew. I was really moody, and I was just thinking, because like, who's nuts? Like, Mum for doing it or me for letting her do it? You know. And it just.
So
And
you was genuinely concerned.
like you have to take it. Like that's the highest one you can do. Commercial skydive. It's 18,000 feet. Like they give you oxygen on the way up.
Wow.
And even like the director was there. He forgot to put on his mask, and he kind of passed out for a few seconds. And all this, and I thought Mum would really need me. And she didn't. She was like ice. She was so cool, and it just got really real, you know. It was quite stressful. Like Mum was saying, you'd like to do another one.
Yeah, but for a charity, I do it for you know.
She'd be doing it on her own, because I won't be doing it with her. I can promise you that. You know?
Nancy, what was the toughest challenge that you faced on the show?
Was putting the shark cage diving, because I can't swim.
Okay.
And for me, it was great achievement, even able to put my head underwater. So I felt great, you know, and the scuba diving. So that was difficult, but I mastered it. And for me, that was something great, a great achievement.
Amazing.
It's a real hook, because to be honest, I think as people get older, you become a little bit invisible, honestly, to people, and they just treat you a certain way. We were in an airport and we were checking in during the show, and I booked emergency exit seats, and the woman checking us in said, "How old is she?" And I went, "Oh no, you didn't." I said, "She's right there. Why don't you ask her?" And then she went, "She looks a little weak." And this is after Mum had just flown a 1942 Warbird upside down. She rallied a speedboat around Miami.
Have you sold the show to her?
Yeah, do you know? But it was just made me so mad. Because imagine you guys, imagine being 70, you'd be JLSing up and down arrivals, wouldn't you? But you know what I mean? It's such an insulting thing to be treated like that. And as much as the show's called 50 Ways to Kill Your Mommy, it's not about that. It's about showing people that, you know, just because you're a certain age, you know, it's not about your age. It's just fear that people have, and you can overcome them. And she's I'm so proud of her. Like,
and it's really 80% mental and 20% physical. When you put something into your mind, really.
Wow,
you know.
You've taught me a lot, that's for sure.
You're an amazing woman, Nancy.
Have you two become a lot closer, do you think, since doing all of this together?
Absolutely not, no.
No.
It's funny. I thought we would.
It's pushed you apart.
I thought we would.
No.
I thought we would, but as much as, like, honestly, like, I'm quite sentimental. So for me, like getting to do a trip like this with your mother when she's 71, like God forbid 30 years from now when I'm 70 and mum is pushing daisies, I'll be telling my grandkids about this amazing journey I took with my mum, and it'll be brilliant. But yeah.
Luckily, well, you know, you didn't kill your mum.
You didn't kill your mummy.
No.
Thank goodness.
It was close.
It all starts on Sky
on Monday night at 9.
Lovely.
Yes,
well, we'll definitely be watching.
I'm definitely watching that for sure. But thank you for coming in.
Thanks so much for
having
us.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Wish you
you.
the best luck with it.
Thanks a million.
Right, it's time for a quick news break now, but don't go away. Straight off the back of a world tour, Doctor Who's companion Jenna Coleman is joining us.
And we're going to take your calls in our cosmetic surgery open clinic. We'll see you guys after the news.
Shame he wasn't on today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Welcome back. Earlier today, we met with Christina, who loved a seaside caricature of herself so much that she spent the last 15 years and an eye-popping amount of money to make herself look more like the picture.
Right now, we're joined by a cosmetic surgeon, Alex Carides, to take your calls. Welcome, Alex.
Welcome.
Before we get to the calls, if there's anyone out there that is thinking of having some, cosmetic surgery, what advice would you give them first of all?
Well, I think obviously you have to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it because you really want to improve yourself, or you're unhappy with a certain aspect of yourself. And then afterwards, I always recommend everybody do their homework. And you can do your homework these days very easily with the internet. The internet has got millions and millions of sites which you can actually access and understand what the surgery involves, because the more you understand, the better armed you are, because then you're more aware of the possible risks, downsides, as well as obviously all the benefits.
So, should we open the clinic? Should we take some calls?
Let's do it.
I think first of all we've got Heather on the line. Heather, are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Heather.
Have you got a question for Alex?
Hi there. I'm just phoning up. Basically, I was thinking about getting lip fillers and also Botox as well. So a lot of my friends and stuff have got it, and members of my family. But I was just wondering if you could tell me what the potential risks are and the complications, and do you think it is addictive?
Yes, hi Heather. Yes, I think that obviously it's it's good that you've decided to have surgery, and that I presume you want to improve some aspect of yourself, because I think that is really important, and you mustn't do it because your friends or your family have had it. So, but yeah, I mean there are risks with any type of surgery, and of course it will depend on the specific type of procedure that you choose. There are generalized risks, for example, for anesthetic risks, infection and bleeding, and of course depending on the procedure that you choose, there are specific issues that you need to understand. For example, for breast augmentations, you have to understand that the implants that you have inserted are not forever. They're not lifetime devices. You're going to have change at some point. So there's an obligation there on your part to change them at some point. So you need to understand that there is a commitment there. Yeah. But I think the important thing is to understand, the reasons why you're doing it in the first place.
I do think there is a lot of pressure to get cosmetic surgery. Like when you look at the magazines and stuff and you watch the TV programmes, you almost feel as if you have to kind of get it to look normal, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I think that's definitely not the right reason to do it. You have to do it because you really personally are unhappy about something, and you want to improve an aspect about yourself.
Yeah, surely, Heather, you should only be doing it if you really want to do it, I think that's important.
It's something I'll think about.
Yeah, do. Make sure you do.
All right, Heather, thank you for your call today.
Thanks, Heather, thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you. Stacey? Hello?
Hello?
Hi,
Stacey.
Hiya.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah?
Good. Have you got a question for Alex?
Yeah, my question for Alex is, I'm considering going over to Prague next month for breast surgery. I wanted to see if you had any advice on going over, as I'm considering going over alone.
Right, well, I mean, you do hear a lot of this, people going abroad for surgery. And, Stacey, I presume that the main reason you're doing it is for financial reasons, because, people have heard that the surgery is a lot cheaper
It's cheaper
abroad.
in Prague.
Not just in Prague, compared to other countries.
Right,
the UK is slightly more expensive.
Is that why you're doing it, Stacey? Because it's cheaper abroad? Is that why?
No, it's I have had problems over here, so I've decided to go abroad for it to have it done instead.
Right.
I mean, there are good surgeons everywhere in the world, of course. One of the problems with having surgery abroad, if you don't live abroad, is when you come back, if there is a problem, or you need some follow-up advice or care, who do you turn to?
Right.
And that's a big obstacle for many people, because surgery, the actual act of performing surgery is just, that day. But then you have the healing process, you have the, the follow-up care, all these things, Stacey, you need to take into consideration. And you've got to make sure that you can have some backup, in case something goes wrong when you come back. Who are you going to turn to?
Well, what checks should people be doing, Alex, before they do make the journey abroad? What should they do?
Well, I think the same checks you would do whether you're having surgery here. You've got to make sure that the person who's going to be doing it is fully qualified, is well versed, very very experienced with the type of surgery that you want to have done. That you perhaps have had some recommendation.
And how would you go about checking? Is it websites, or can you look up surgeons, for example, and see their work? Or?
Absolutely. If you have a specific name, yes, you can obviously do a search and find some information.
So does that not always happen? So you don't always know who exactly is going to be operating on you?
Well, this is the problem. If you go, for example, through a cosmetic surgery company, you may not know the actual surgeon who's going to be performing the surgery. Of course, there are people within a certain company who will advise you and tell you about surgery, but they're probably not the people who are going to be performing the surgery. So it's not always easy sometimes to identify that.
Stacey, have you done any checks yourself?
Yeah, I have checks, and the company that I've decided that I'm going to go with have told me that I'll be operated on with the surgeon that I will speak to over the phone before I go, and the one that will do my consultant and look at all my pictures before I go over there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, again, it's not ideal because, before committing to any surgery, the surgeon should ideally see the patient, examine the patient up close. Sure, you can get only so much via, pictures, Skype or whatever, but unless you actually examine an individual and speak to them in person, it's not always easy to be, fully 100% with, explaining to the patient what can or cannot be achieved.
Okay, thanks, Alice. Hopefully that's something to think about for you, Stacey, yeah?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you very much.
We've got Jackie next. Jackie?
Jackie?
Hello?
Hi, Jackie. Jackie had a double mastectomy in 2005. Jackie, are you there?
I am. Good morning.
Hi. Have you got a question for Alex?
Yes, morning, doctor. I had a double mastectomy in 2005 due to breast cancer, and I'm wondering if it's still possible to have implants after such a length of time because of the scarring.
Hello, Jackie. Yes, of course, it is possible. I presume you're under the care of somebody in the NHS here, your GP. Yes, there are many options available to patients who have had mastectomies these days. And so I think, if you feel, the need to reconstruct your breast, then yes, I think it would be totally understandable for you to seek advice. And I am certain your GP would be able to guide you accordingly, to help you go through the appropriate routes. But yes, there's no reason why you couldn't have some form of reconstruction.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Jackie, thanks for calling.
You're welcome, Jackie. Hope that helps.
We've had a couple of emails as well, Alex. The first one's from a lady called Jane. She says she's Afro-Caribbean and she feels her nose is too broad. She wants to make sure that she finds a good surgeon that can give her the effect that she wants, so she doesn't want to look too European. What should she look for?
Well, yes, Afro-Caribbean noses in particular are a very specific type of noses. They're different to Caucasian noses. They have slightly flatter, the skin is slightly thicker. And so you need to have a surgeon who has a lot of experience with those particular type of noses. It's very likely that person does a lot of noses anyways, but more specifically, they should have a lot of experience with Afro-Caribbean noses. And I think that, again, in these situations when a black individual wants to change their nose, I think they need to be very specific about what they'd like to achieve, because as she said, she doesn't want to look too European, and she's clear about that, because you don't want to go to the extreme where you've changed your nose so radically that it's not you anymore.
It's no longer you.
Exactly.
Next, a common one, Botox. Michelle has sent an email saying she wants to have Botox surgery on her forehead, but she has asthma. Would it be safe for her to have that surgery?
Yes, there's no contraindication or reason why she couldn't have it if she has asthma. No, absolutely.
Botox is very common, isn't it?
Indeed,
it seems to be.
It is the most common non-surgical procedure that we do these days. Yes, and it's great because people can see the difference. After a few days once the Botox is kicked in. It's great at smoothing lines and creases. It's a form of toxin. It's actually called botulinum toxin. Botox is the trade name. but it's very, very effective. It's been in use for cosmetic purposes for a number of years now, so we know it's safe, and it's very readily accepted by patients.